It's going to be a quick video showing the differential motor, also known as a two-speed axle motor from the 1986 International s1900. However, it's the two-speed axle or a two-speed differential. It's very common on these older trucks, and so basically you have a low gear and a high gear, and what changes the gear is this motor. In this case, it happens to be the electrical. It happens to be an electrical motor. Lots of the older ones, I'm thinking, as you know, further back in time you go, the more common ones they tend to be vacuum. If it's a gasoline engine, diesel engines don't really have a lot of vacuum, or they pretty much don't have any at all, I guess. But anyways, this unit happens to be electrical, which I don't really like. For the same reasons that the wiper motors, that the vacuum ones are better. Those are simpler, more robust, and more heavy duty than electrical motors. It's the same thing here, Again, I've said this already, but there's no such thing as a purely electrical system in a car. The only thing that would be purely electrical is induction. It only generates heat. You don't really have... You do have induction motors, but they are not common at all on cars. So what's happening is electrical energy is being transformed into mechanical energy. And when you have a vacuum or a hydraulic motor, instead of going through that middleman, you're just going directly to mechanical power. So you could have a lever that actually moves the gear just like this. That's purely mechanical, right? And the other systems, it's either air pressure, some sort of pressure, either vacuum or brake, hydraulic pressure, whatever. But anyways, I disassembled it because it was working. It was working when I was driving the truck, but it wasn't working the best. And I like getting in the habit of changing things, repairing things, and maintaining things before they actually break. That's not very common nowadays. But anyway, so it wasn't, it was kicking roughly in the differential, and then it turns out it was pretty much empty in terms of oil. There was no gear oil. I had to put pretty much a big jug of gear oil in it. But I decided to go ahead and I looked at the wires, and they were all you can see this thing looks like garbage, and it's looking pretty bad. So those are the wires, and yep, no wonder. Yeah, you can't leave it like that. So I decided just remove the unit, and that way I can get a part number, which happens to be up there. It says it's 12 volt. So this should be the part number, SA109492. And there's this other number here, 85751. Not sure what that means. Another number down here, 3544. I think that's a 35, yeah. Then there's some patent numbers. Give you a minute there to just check that out. So I'd like to just open it up and see how it works. And the first thing I notice is that it's got this... Oh, shit. I'm trying to hold it up right here. it's got this plug here, and on my left here, that's what actually faces upwards when it's in the truck. So this here would be the bottom, and there's a plug here, and what I'm thinking, I'm not 100% sure, but this is probably so you can drain the oil. So I've read somewhere that, again, this is like starting, from scratch. I'm a car guy. I'm a classic car guy. I don't know. I've never dealt with anything like this before. But again, it's just mechanical. It's scientific procedure. Allows you to solve any problem and understand any component. But this here should be a drain plug for oil. So what I've heard is that there's a rubber boot around the shaft lever here, or the lever, and that prevents the oil from the differential getting into the unit here. And from what I heard happens is that the rubber, it's moving. That's moving with a lot of force in there. And then the rubber eventually breaks, and it allows oil to go into here, and the oil ruins the motor. And that's probably what's been happening here as well, since it's probably working just fine before I put the oil in. The motor, at least, because there wasn't any oil in the components. But now that I've filled it with oil, that should explain why it's not working properly. So the way that this works is there's just a simple motor here that reverses forward and reverse, and the motor turns this, basically a screw here, and this screw moves this thing here up and down, and that actually turns the fork in the differential. And this here has a spring, as you can sort of see there, those coils there, so that it only meshes the gears at the right moment with the right force. It prevents you from, the driver from, putting the gear in the wrong time, at the wrong time, and it actually damages, forces the gear into contact with the differential gear and damaging it. But what I can notice is, like I was saying, look at that down there. That's the electrical switch board, I guess you could call it. And as you can see, it's just submerged in oil. That's probably not going to work right with that much oil in there. So, again, why would they put that inside there? I'm not sure. I don't know why they do that. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is option number one, I'd like to get an air operated unit to replace this. I'm not sure if it's going to be possible. It's possible, but not in my current situation. Option number two, just get a new motor with a new unit with the and a new rubber boot. And option three is I'm going to actually repair this and move that electrical part to the outside. But I guess that just shows you a bit how it works. I might do another video. But yeah, there's this little cap, this little screw. There's a bearing here, by the way, at the end of the shaft on the motor. And yeah, it's made of aluminum, by the way. I hate that. As you can see, aluminum it does get corroded. A lot of people seem to think that aluminum is it's rust proof. Well, it's not. It doesn't rust like steel, but the salt does eat it away. It gets pitted, and chunks of it just come out. So it does get corroded very much, if not more so than steel. Cast iron unit would have been much better. So now it's pretty much, starting from scratch. I don't know a lot of places where to get parts for trucks, like medium-sized trucks. Can't get them at Rock Auto, but it's a matter of typing in the parts in the computer and doing some ass work, what I call it. sitting down and searching.